chasing the easy life. We're chasing the easy life. We're chasing the easy life. We're chasing the sun tonight. We're chasing the easy life. Easy life.
And that's why I'm recording a video. So typical LA traffic. So what I want to talk about today is a very broad topic in terms of product ideas. A lot of people focus a little too much with regards to garden ideas and whatnot, but at the end of the day, ideas are a dime a dozen. It's really about the execution. I think a good idea is 20% of the battle. Execution is the remaining 80, or the majority 80, actually. So, but that's, this is what a majority of the channel is about, is, ways to execute on an idea and whatnot. So let's take it from the very beginning. Is at a very high level, when someone or yourself comes up with an idea, how do you evaluate it to consider whether it is good or not, whether there's merit, and what you can do about it? So from that perspective, I would like to say you should evaluate an idea based on 3 high level, broadly speaking, type of criteria. Number 1 is there a market financially? Is this product going to be viable, right? So if the market is very small, it's very niche, it doesn't mean that it is a bad idea or that you shouldn't pursue it. It's just one point that you need to take into consideration. And then if the remaining 2 is also unfavorable, chances of success is very, very low. But not at all non-existent. Nothing is impossible, in this world. But at the same time, nothing is certain either. So that being said, I like to look at how big the market is, and there are different ways, and I talk about that too. Different ways to size the market. Typically, what I like to do when I size a market is take 2 different methods, or two different ways to evaluate the size of a market and see, from a ballpark perspective, whether they land in a similar ballpark. And if they do, then you can feel a little more confident that what you think the market size may be is probably going to be the case. So, and I'll go through that. I go through that in other channels and in other videos and so forth. So that's number 1. Number 2 is you evaluate the idea with regards to your ability to execute. And what I mean by that is, do you yourself have the capability to bring that idea forth? Or maybe people in your team, or immediate access to those types of talent in order to bring about the idea to market. So for example, if you're making a clothing company, are you a designer yourself? Can you do that? If not, is there a partner designer? Do you have employees who are designers? Do you also know the manufacturing process, own at least some parts of it, or have contacts to manufacturers that you can work with to produce the clothing line? What about your distribution? Do you have a network or salespeople or a e-commerce presence in order for you to distribute that? These are the types of things that you have to think through in terms of capabilities to deliver. And if not, what is your plan for being able to do that? And when I look at elements like these, they go on to what I like to do is just build a table or what I call a scorecard, and then score it. Some people do high, medium, low. I like to put more of an objective criteria across from this, because if you have 2 or 3 ideas, let's say they both score 2 highs and a low, what does that mean? But if you score them by different levels with some sort of number, at least you can help fine-tune that scoring, right? So that is the that is one of the criteria. And then lastly, strategic fit, right? So for example, if you are an e-commerce business focused on nutraceutical products, and you come up with this cool idea about making a new shoe, strategic fit may not be there. You don't, and chances are your other capabilities do not support that idea either. So that's very important, right? So unless you know that's a market that you want to move towards, and let's say you have endorsers who are athletes, and you have someone who's actively soliciting you to invest in their shoe venture or something of that nature. But otherwise, if you have none of that and you want to do that while you're in the nutraceutical business or some other business that's unrelated to making shoes, there may not be a strategic fit. On the other hand, if you're running a clothing company, maybe there is a better fit, right? So those are 3 different criteria I typically use to evaluate a product. That's really the early stage, first step pass, and looking at whether the idea is even worth further consideration. Now, if it's not, what are the options? Well, number 1 is you kill the product, you kill the idea, right? It doesn't work. We are not making a spaceship, right? So you kill that idea. The second thing is to shelf it, right? So perhaps you're a clothing company and someone comes up with a cool shoe idea, but you don't have the capability to deliver, no money to finance that, no network, no distribution network, and right now you're focusing on launching a hat or a swimwear line. Shoe may not fit right now, maybe it'll fit in the future. So you shelf that, put it on the table for consideration the next time around. So there should be a library or a bucket where these types of ideas are stored, so that you can bring them back up for consideration when you want to do line extensions or looking at other ways to build your product portfolio. And then obviously lastly is the idea works out, it looks promising, and you take it to the next step. And typically what that happens is you start focusing on more energy on the development effort and doing proof of concept, prototyping, so on and so forth, which we'll go through in other videos. I don't want to talk about that here, but yeah, so that's 3 key ways I would go about looking at evaluating ideas. Put them on a scorecard and see how the numbers pan out. Another important thing is, so depending on your organization, typically you should have a cross-functional team to also discuss the evaluation with. So typically when you do this, you should have a team consisting of commercial, the technical people, whether they are the designers, the manufacturers, lab technicians, scientists, whatever technical means in your organization. And then, everyone else should be aware of it. They should also have, at least be informed. So it's kind of like referencing the RACI matrix, right? Looking at who's responsible, accountable, that needs, to be informed or whatnot, or they are, needs to confirm certain aspects of the steps associated with the with the product and its development. So that being said, yeah, that's what I would do. So let me know what you guys think. If there are other ways, other things that you guys consider when you're pushing your products forward, let me know. These are just the ways I do it. It works out well for me. But again, by no means are they the only way to do things. So anyway, I'm gonna try to see how long I have to brave this LA traffic. So peace out.